Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities and Miniatures, and I just got an interesting box in the mail today, and I had to come rush and start filming it as soon as possible. And that is the Devil Hunter DH01B Date Masamune. Date Masamune. Yeah. So this is an interesting figure. This is not a model kit, but it actually has its origins in a model kit. If we can gaze upon the cover there, you'll see it's got a nice illustration of Date. And so my understanding is this thing actually started, there's nothing on the other side except his name. This actually did start as a resin conversion kit for the Strike Gundam Master Grade, I believe. I'm not even 100% sure. I know it actually, like I said though, it did start as a conversion kit. I don't think it was ever its own official model. We have these two boxes. We'll have to get something to open them with. Everything is shiny and reflective. So this figure is actually based on the Date Masamune character design from Sengoku Basara, which, if you want to get really obscure, had a horrible localization in the US as Devil Kings back on the PlayStation 2. And gameplay-wise, it was absolutely butchered, and they turned it into warring leaders trying to take over hell rather than Sengoku era daimyos and warlords and good old Nobunaga. But yeah, I had fun with it nonetheless. So we got a couple of interesting things here. We've got a backpack setup. We've got his, Sashimono thing, the banner flags. We've got hands with 3 blades in each side, so he's going to have all 6 swords, just like in Sengoku Basara. He's got his pistols, so he can put your guns on. He loved to yell on the show. Some kind of like booster adapter for the pistols? Or no, is that his hand, I think? I don't know. I can't read Chinese, unfortunately. It does look like you can actually have him holding the flag poles. And then how the hands attach. A couple of different options. Closed fist, 3 blades, claw, and grasping hand. And then a rehash of the artwork. Okay, I have not even officially opened these. You can see they're still sealed. Let me snip those and let's see what's inside. Since I got the first one open, I'm guessing from the weight of things, this is probably going to be the accessories. I could be wrong. No. It certainly looks like it. Alright. Now, unfortunately, in the modern day and era, we don't get all sorts of cool, big styrofoam trays like in the olden days. It's nothing but vacuum-formed plastic. Be that what it may be. This is what you're going to get. There's tape stuff. You know what sucks about these vacuum-formed trays is like 9 times out of 10, I always end up slicing them up in the process of... Really? There we go. Okay. So the hands are actually fully molded with the blades in them attached. I guess that's pretty handy. That way you don't have to fiddle with having the swords all falling out. This looks like skirt armor. This is the purple version. That's why it's a 01B. The 01 Devil Hunter was in the traditional blue colors like we usually see Masamune in. Pretty decent paint apps on the weaponry. They are plastic. Just so you know. I know sometimes these are like solid metal everythings. Okay, there's no joint there. It's just a simple plug for the hands. Backpack unit. Thrusters are on ball joints. think this is the rear skirt armor, actually. All right, let's hold on to those. And let's open up the other box. Because I haven't. If I can find where I put it. It's behind me. Slice it open. Alright. That's heavier. One of the things I really don't like I said, about these cheaper plastic trays is they can break easily. Not that styrofoam was perfect by any means. And we have success. Okay, so one of the interesting things is a lot of times with these models and figures, they often have, you know, plastic, bubble wrap, foam, whatever, to keep things safe in transit. There is some diecast to this figure. Not tons. I think if you're looking for a heavy diecast figure, you might want to go with one of the MoShow figures. I know they've got their Masamune coming out soon. There are assorted things laying around at the bottom of this. I have no idea what some of these are. We'll have to figure that out. Is there anything underneath all that? No. Okay. Flags look heavy. Okay. So I had read initially complaints about the legs being too loose, too spread out, but I don't see that being the case. He's very clicky at the moment. And he's not even on screen. That's better. All right. Joints seem pretty decently. When do we put your headpiece back on? Your foot came off. Looks like it's just supposed to click in there, but we'll figure that out. This is what happens when I don't get to mess with it ahead of time. Is it the Strike or the Barbatos? I can't tell. Just to give you guys a size indication, that is a 1/144th Gundam next to it. I am trying to figure out how to get that down. It does not want to cooperate. What does the back of it even look like? Yeah, I'm sure that part's supposed to go in there. That makes sense. Extra joint in the chest. Which hand did I grab for his swords? Okay, that all came off. I'm not sure if that's supposed to happen. Probably not. What's interesting is this guy was actually one of the early die-cast figures. More original designs that were coming out. I know Devil Hunter has made a couple others. Another one based on Sanada Yukimura. Again, based on a resin kit, also from Sengoku Basara. And then they did another one based on one of the characters from Wataru. So, let me see if I can fix this. Alright, been goofing around with it for a little bit. I think I got everything where it's supposed to go for the most part. I can see people's feelings on those feet. They're not bad, but they're not great. Again, maybe I'm just spoiled because I got one of those MoShow Shingen Takeda figures first, and that thing is just a solid hunk of metal as it is, but the engineering on it is really great. Not to say that this is bad, it's just I feel like this has been surpassed since it first came out. You can see he's got his 3 blades in his hands there. Pretty sturdy for the most part. The chest here is removable. Actually, there's a lot of pieces that are kind of removable, and I'm not sure why that is. I don't recall this having any sort of light-up feature. I could be wrong. I know some of these models, figures, often do have light-up chest compartments, eyes, whatever. I don't think this guy does, and there's no mention of it on the instruction sheet either. You can see here, he's very reflective. He's a little bit thin. And again, I think that's partly just because the design is based on originally one of the Gundams that had a very thin waist. I think it's a strike. It feels like the strike. I know somebody also made or maybe it's the Barbatos, I don't know. The Barbatos had a really thin chest too, didn't it? I know somebody also made the Ryujin Maru from Wataru as a variation on this same design in metal. So I gotta say, I like it. I always enjoyed Masamune in Devil Kings and Sengoku Basara. So having him like this, and it's hard to see. Let's see if I can zoom it in on his face there. It's difficult to see, but he does have his eye patch. He's supposed to have lost his eye earlier in life. But the colors, the paint job, are really nice overall. You can see I got the foot back on there, and there's some random piece of resin there. Okay, cool. I think a figure like this is going to look great on display. One of these days, I'm going to get myself some sort of a display cabinet for all these big, giant models. If you've listened to me before, I mean, growing up, these were always my favorite types of figures. Diecast robots, even more so than the miniatures. I know it's really bad lighting, but the sun is unfortunately just right where it is, and I could not resist waiting to mess with this. As far as I know, so this purple version like I've got is actually the reprint version. The blue ones are the original release. Finding them now, especially in the US, might be a little bit of a challenge. Unfortunately, third-party sellers love to jack the prices up on these kinds of things. So do your due diligence if you're going to go get one of these. I've heard people had success with places like AliExpress still. I haven't checked. I went through eBay with a more reputable seller I found. I'm not even sure what they were called, so it probably doesn't help. But if you're a fan of the Sengoku Basara games, if you're a fan of big diecast robots, while the diecast content may not be as heavy as some of the other stuff out there, it's definitely a solid choice. The lack of a base to stand him on, I guess, could be a bit of an issue, especially with the way, like people were saying, his legs want to splay out. I could see that being somewhat problematic. But overall, I kind of dig the purple version. It makes me think of an evil Megatron Decepticon type model. And outside of the thin waist, which is more just a nitpicky thing, I gotta say, solid support, solid construction. Everything went back, popped in perfectly where it should be. You'll notice when I opened up the case, there were all a bunch of floppy pieces. It was the knee pads. Leg came back on, foot came back on fine. All of his skirt armor attached with no issues. I should try putting those banner poles. I'm not even sure where they go. And I popped off the chest piece. You can see there. I believe that's metal in there. Yeah, I knocked a hand off. Cool. Yeah, I don't see anything about a light setup, but definitely something interesting. For me, at least, and I hate to say it, but this is one of those videos that I'm doing for myself. If you don't like it, my apologies, but every now and then, these are my treats for continuing to do this channel. And I do enjoy my giant diecast robots. So if you do too, like I said, go take a look around. Devil Hunter Date Masamune is what you're going to keep an eye out for. And hopefully you're going to get as much satisfaction as I do. And now I'm going to go mess around with it. So, with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures. Say thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.